worst managed games that we can remember. We break it all down on Locked On Cubs right now.
Locked On Cubs, your daily Chicago Cubs podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Alongside Sam Olber, I'm Matt Cozy, and this is Locked On Cubs, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day. Please support the show and be a part of the Locked On Cubs community by following on all audio platforms. And you can watch, subscribe, and leave a comment on YouTube. Thanks so much for making us your first listen. Sam and I are lifelong fans, taking our passion into discussion with you on all things Cubs. Today's Tuesday episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Last-minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. Well, some behind the scenes here. We are recording this live here on a Monday evening, 8:45 Central Standard Time. We decided to do our episode live because we believe it is appropriate in the moment, given what just happened in the Cubs' 7-6 loss to the Reds in Cincinnati on Monday. David Ross makes multiple bad decisions as the Northsiders fall to 1-3 on the season. Sam, know you were with the game every pitch. First impressions, final impressions. We're going to go all over the place here.
Yeah. You know, this was a really, really inexcusable loss. And I'll preface what I'm about to say is I don't want this show to become we second guess the manager after every single loss, because we're smart enough to realize that we're not Major League Baseball managers. We've never played Major League Baseball. We've never won anything at the Major League level like David Ross has. So everything I'm about to say, I come with as much respect as possible. Mm-hmm. With that being said, if you're new to the show, this is not new for me. I have not believed in this manager for a long time now. And Matt and I think, have done a really good job explaining the margins and how important the margins are going to be for this team, because this team is not talented enough to just overcome games like this. Sure, in 16, 17, 18, a mistake like this, they probably would have won. Heck, in the World Series, they overcame many managerial mistakes by Joe Maddon because they were very talented. This team is not that talented. They are built around being smart at every level, and that includes the manager. And before I get into the details, Matt, because I know you were busy, you saw most of the game, but not all of it, so I'm going to recap it.
Recap it for everybody.
Yeah.
It's brutal, man. Terrible.
I would almost go as far as to say, I don't watch every team. I think it's comfortable to say 90% of major league managers win this game. That's how bad it was. It starts out early on. I'm not going to recap all the plays. I'm just going to recap the stuff with Ross. The Cubs come back after really just handing the Reds a 4-3 lead off of a leadoff walk to start the first by Smiley, some soft contact, and then a bunt in the second inning straight to Smiley. Eric Hosmer just unexplainably runs over to Smiley. Smiley picks up the ball and throws it to nobody, which gave the Reds the lead. And that is accurately describing that play. The Cubs come back and give him credit for it. Great at bat by Eric Hosmer. It's 6-4. When this happens, you could go on my Twitter, I promise, hand to the show. And I've said, please, Keegan, straight to this game. Don't mess around. Don't try and get another inning out of Smiley. In the fourth inning, Matt, the inning prior to the fifth, Smiley with no on 2 outs went triple, hit by pitch, walk, mistake pitch to Will Myers that he got lucky for a pop-out, inning over. It felt like he was walking on eggshells there. And I even said, I was watching the game with my dad, I even said that felt like a huge turning point that they got out of that. Now be done with him. He comes out. He's facing Tyler Stevenson, by the way, probably their best hitter. So it wasn't like it was at the end of the order. Gives up a base hit, gets an out, hits another batter, right? Hits another batter. then gets an out, and then you knew Ross was going to stick with him because they had that lefty that came in for their injured shortstop. I apologize. I don't know the name of some of these Reds guys because they're in a full tank rebuild. And he predictably gives up the 3-run home run. And the thing here, and I'm sorry, Matt, I'm talking a long time.
No, you're not. Go.
The thing I really want to emphasize here is the small
percent. That's just one sequence, by the way.
Well, there's tons of them. Just wait.
Tons of them, yeah.
There's the small percentage of me that wanted to say, well, maybe Ross, maybe Keegan Thompson was only available in innings, so Ross squeezed out an inning out of Smiley to go to Thompson, so then they could go Boxberger, Fulmer because they used a bunch of guys. And then Thompson throws 3 1/3 innings. 3 1/3.
And he was good.
10 outs. He gets 10 outs. So he was available to pitch that long, and you could have just went straight to him in the 5th. And for whatever reason, you were trying to squeeze another inning out of a guy. It'd be one thing if Smiley got off to a rough start and then was cruising. He was terrible in the 4th inning. Right. He had no idea where the ball was going. And then that might have not even been the worst sequence. In the 7th inning, the Cubs get a walk, a catcher's interference on a 3-2 pitch.
2 freebies.
Which was an absolute gift.
2 freebies.
And then Wisdom, who gets hit in the wrist earlier in the game, comes out to bunt. So immediately I say to myself, that's a bit odd. Wisdom never bunts. Maybe he's hurt. Well, if he's hurt, pinch hit for him. But here's the worst part of the whole sequence. He bunts on a 3-1. At that point, you know you're going to get a cookie. Either look to do damage, or if you're hurt, just take. Why would you want to give a pitcher an out on a 3-1 pitch in high leverage?
Well, if you're hurt, you shouldn't be in the game.
Yeah, but it turns out he wasn't hurt because he hit in the 9th inning and got a base hit. So bunting Wisdom. I mean, and by the way, if you want to bunt someone that could bunt like Madrigal, and then he hits Torrens. And then he hits Gomes. They go backup catcher to backup catcher.
Back-to-back pinch hits.
Yeah. If Madrigal can't hit in that spot versus a left-hander, why is he on the team?
Right.
His whole weaponry, his whole arsenal is based on, hey, he makes contact. He could be effective moving runners along and with runners in scoring position. It was just it was elementary is the word. It was childish managing, and it has happened far too much. And the last thing I'll say before the last thing I'll say before I swing it to you is I don't care about the record. I don't care that they're 4 games in. This process is a failure, and this team will not go anywhere with this type of process. And I do not care that they played well for the 2 months last year. That is low leverage. That means nothing to me, okay? It is easy to play well, and it's easy to manage well when the fan base and nobody cares, okay? Tonight, is disgraceful managing. There's nobody to blame. Not Hoyer. Mancini was horrendous defensively in right field. How Christopher Morel should be on a bus right now to Cincinnati. But that's not what this episode's about. The manager cost him the ball game.
So my antenna actually is up more because it is only game 4. I think there's all sorts of ways you can break that down. You just did an eloquent job. But I am even more perplexed. That's what I put on the thumbnail, perplexing, because it is game 4. In my heart of hearts as a Cubs fan, this did more damage, I believe, because it was so early. Jed Hoyer has even said the second half last year, they might not be able to take as much stock into it. Okay, well, we're in the first full week of the baseball season, 2023. Now's the time. And by the way, if this is the year of kind of the bridge to 24, however we're going to try to define it, out of the rebuild, entering competitive mode, then it's time to compete. And there's no passes. No passes are being handed out because we have been very genuine on this show about Ross, and we took over the show 9-10 months ago. And I think we were, in some cases, the leaders in the clubhouse on him. While I think having a nuanced conversation, but certainly not calling into question his title, okay, which we're not going to do tonight either. But if there's ever a time to evaluate the person in the dugout, this is the season. And in game 4, to make those decisions is awful. I can't even believe it. I just coached my own game 2 hours ago. I couldn't believe myself catching up with the game. I had it on the game tracker, walk into the locker room. Why is Smiley still in the game? Even I could tell, not having caught up until that point, he shouldn't be in. And I'm just looking at the box score. And by the way, what is the pitching path to victory today? You just proved that it could have been Smiley for 4, Thompson for 3, Fulmer for 1, Boxberger for 1. So why didn't that happen? That's not good. And then we have the Wisdom situation, which, to even make this more perplexing, that's really the only takeaways that I could see right now in real time that happened post-game. I didn't hear many challenging questions. I got to be real. David Ross revealed after the game 2 things about Wisdom. 1, he's going to get x-rays tomorrow. If he should get x-rays, why is he in the baseball game? Number 2,
I don't even know that.
Ross said that Wisdom is one of the best bunters on the team. Respectfully to Wisdom, who mashes baseballs, I could tell by his form he's not good. Yeah, you bunt it towards the runner, first and second, third base line. Come on, man. And he squared around, I believe, 3-0 as well. 3-0 and 3-1.
I think that was just a take.
Yeah, like an automatic take.
Yeah.
But that was a bad bunt. He bunts it right into the air.
You don't bunt on a 3-1 pitch.
And a 3-1 pitch, you got to eat, man.
With 2-1, no outs. And by the way, I couldn't tell because Marquis had a weird angle. I don't even know if it was a strike. I'm assuming it was.
3-1, you got to eat. We're going to get into this more coming up next. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Game Time is a great ticketing app that is so fast and easy. You can buy tickets to all the sports, music, comedy, and theater near you. And you don't have to worry weeks, months in advance. You could do it the day of. That's right. Game Time has deals on tickets right up to the day of the event, including exclusive flash deals. The Game Time guarantee also means you always get the best price. If you find tickets in the same section and row for less at another outlet, Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. You can get images on your seat. You can get some more convenience for you out there. I'm still thinking about going to Friday's game at Wrigley. I might do that day of. We'll see.
Yeah, I'm not.
But you could buy tickets in a matter of seconds, 2 taps, and you're all set. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. Again, create an account, redeem code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Welcome back to Locked On Cubs. Thanks for joining us here on a Tuesday. We're also recording live on Monday night. If you ever want to be with us live, and we'd love to have you, we do that exclusively on YouTube. And please subscribe and turn on notifications so you know when we go live. This was not planned. Please smash the like button while you're here. And it wasn't planned. We decided to go on because it's, kind of in the industry speak, an emergency podcast.
Sure.
Why wait around? Why have you, the fan, wait around, for our regular 6 a.m. posting the next day? We got to just jump on. So that's the beauty of YouTube.
Matt, let me say one thing.
Oh, I kind of got into it there, huh?
Yeah, like the Cubs this year, we talked about this, and the reason why is probably for a different episode, but they're built like a small market team that's trying to win. I know they spent big money on Swanson, but when I say small market team, I say you look at the Rays, you look at the Guardians, you look at Milwaukee, right? Some speed, some defense, some run prevention, a lot of arms, some timely hitting, and you figure it out. The Rays, for example, are a type of team where
4-0.
you look at their lineup and you say at the end of the year, it's like, yeah, a couple guys are having a good year, but there's no, Wander Franco's a great player, but there's nobody in that lineup. I mean, the Rays might be a poor example this year because they have ridiculous pitching. But my point is that you look at those teams: Kevin Cash, Terry Francona, Craig Counsell.
Those are three outstanding examples.
Outstanding managers.
Yeah.
And David Ross, I feel comfortable saying that is not even close to that level. And those guys, sure, Kevin Cash, listen, he made a huge mistake on the biggest stage in front of everybody. He did the over analytics, he pulled Snell. Mistakes happen. But when you stick to your thought process and you have a plan, it makes sense. I don't believe David Ross has a plan. I firmly believe if Craig Counsell was the Cubs manager, they'd be 3-1 right now.
Oh boy.
I firmly believe that. And look, I don't think we're being unfair. I don't.
No.
I think a lot of people, especially within the Cubs, will watch this and say, you guys are being ridiculous. It's game 4. I don't think so. I think criticizing David Ross for yesterday's loss, that's a little bit crazy. Sure. Would I have had Adbert Alzolay in there before Merriweather? Absolutely. But at least that one,
right.
that one I can move forward. Tonight is I don't even, I don't want to talk about positives. I don't want to talk about Smiley. This wasn't Smiley's fault. First of all, he also had a horrendous spring. So he has a horrendous spring,
horrendous first start.
And a really bad start to his season, and he stretched out that extra inning. And it's just I can't the wisdom thing with the Terrens and it was like being on a carousel. I felt like I was in a carnival.
It's going the other way around. It's going the wrong direction.
That one I can move on from and just say, all right, fine. I don't know what was happening. That one, like, I don't know what I would have done that much differently.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm managing, we win today because Keegan Thompson goes into the 5th inning.
I'm just really confused because I just like to read his line. 3 1/3, 1 out, no 1 hit, no runs, no walks, 3 Ks.
But that's the worst part about it. Ross knew he could go 3 innings. If you know he could go 3 innings, and Smiley has pitched poorly, and Boxberger and Fulmer did not throw.
Boxberger hasn't pitched since opening day.
Right. And Fulmer did not throw on
Yesterday.
Sunday.
Yeah,
Sunday. So he was available. So it's like if he could go, so you really only needed him to go. If he goes 5, 6, 7, then you're there. And even
that's what I said.
And even if he only could go 5, 6, you can maneuver away. You win the game there. Right. I'd rather give a different reliever a chance than Drew Smiley, who just didn't have it. And when that lefty came up, I was there. I said, Dad, he's going way deep, way deep.
Oh no!
And my dad's like, you're overreacting. Like it's my dad's got, it's game 4. I go, you don't understand. The game's different. It's not old school anymore. The managers play an integral part in every game. You gotta be smart. And it is what it is. And I don't want this. This will be the last episode. There's no way Ross could screw up this badly for a while. So hopefully we don't have to do this again, because I don't like doing this. I don't like singling out somebody. Like, I'm seeing these comments that make no sense to me. Ricketts ruining the franchise. Ross was a cheap hire, or whatever this, or these, Bryce is like, hey, I won't take this team seriously until they have all this. Like, I get all that. That's all fair. But right now they just lost because of a decision that you or me would have made.
Yeah.
Like in a vacuum, like we don't have to make these huge big picture takes.
I don't think so. No, not this time.
This podcast is about one thing: David Ross just not even understanding simple baseball stuff. It doesn't matter that Mancini was awful. I mean, the Cubs played a bad game regardless. Mancini was terrible in right field. I thought Mastrobuoni did a nice job in that at bat. That was such a tough spot. He hit the ball hard, was unlucky. It is what it is. I'm not gonna, Jed Hoyer has a lot of questions to answer as well. David Ross is his guy. There's absolutely no idea what's going on in right field. That Mancini looks like me 2 years ago on Nick's men's league. Just limping and diving at balls.
Well, could we on the way out then? Could we on the way out talk a little personnel then? I think there is a little bit of personnel limitations.
Well, there's a
I
lot
think
of
it's
it.
got to be addressed.
Yeah, there's a lot of personnel limitations. I'm not saying there isn't, but that's we're sitting here 2-2 talking about those personnel limitations in a positive move. If David Ross didn't manage the game like Ray Charles,
Oh no. We're going to get into some of those limitations right after this. Today's episode is also brought to you by Ultimate Pro Baseball GM. This is the coolest game we've played in a long time. We've thought we could be our own Jed Hoyer. As it turns out, it's not all that easy, although we're going to try to make a case for it in about 2 minutes. This game allows you to manage every strategic aspect of a franchise, playing through seasons and leading your team and fans to glory as you build a historic dynasty. This is all in a challenging and realistic game world. Ultimate Baseball GM is completely free and playable offline, playable on the go as you want and when you want to. And we are having a competition right now for bragging rights, maybe a gift card or two. All the Locked On MLB channel hosts and Locked On Cubs listeners get a 100% free boost to their franchise when using the promo Locked On. That's Locked On in all caps. So make sure to pounce on this deal. To download the game, just visit probaseballgm.com or look it up in your Apple or Google Play Store. probaseballgm.com and start your dynasty today with Ultimate Pro Baseball GM. Welcome back to Locked On Cubs. Thank you so much for joining us. We're also live on YouTube here. Decided to come on an emergency situation. 120 plus Cubs fans with us right now. We're in the final few minutes of the show, Sam. And I would like, just on the way out, because I think we have covered this, and if there's more to say, please let me know, okay?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But I feel there's no time to waste. And I think after 4 games, I would like to see a roster move. I would. You can't play pro baseball with 2 pro outfielders on your roster. How is a first baseman, how is a third baseman in right field one day, and the next day a first baseman's in right field? A right fielder needs to be in right field. So please, Morel, Velasquez, Tauchman, one of those 3 at the latest, when the Cubs get back to Wrigley on Friday,
Now 1 and 5.
they have to be on this club. They have to. And really, it should be probably 2 of those guys. Because what's Torrens doing ultimately? He's a 4A guy. I can already tell. If Madrigal doesn't play today, like you said 20 minutes ago, he's taking up a roster spot.
No,
So what are we doing here?
Having Torrens in there, I didn't realize that they were going to be this bad in right field. I agree. I agree.
Thank
Can
you.
I address one quick thing?
Please.
This is really important.
Holy
This
guacamole.
comment right here by Cubs Center. This comment right here.
Oh, my.
If David Ross has this job and his job security has anything to do with the 2016, that's 7 years ago,
Oh, man.
World Series victory that he did not manage, he was a backup catcher on, then there is something very fundamentally wrong with this organization. This is not a sport about nostalgia. This is not a sport about clapping for things that happened in the past. We will for all be indebted to everybody on that roster for that victory. But that didn't stop Jed Hoyer from making trades when he had to.
Mm-hmm.
This sport is about winning. And it is 4 games in. There is plenty of time for David Ross to admit it. But I'll tell you this, Matt, as somebody that really values accountability, I'm disappointed in what David Ross had to say after the game. He should have come out and said that was on me. He should have. It was that blatant. He should have said, hey, I left Drew in probably an inning too long, a batter too long. That was on me tonight. The guys did well. If he just even said that to acknowledge that, I'd feel a little bit better. That was, I agree with you on the roster moves. I just can't, and I don't want to end yet. I want to address it. I'm not done yet. I can't get over that.
Yeah, I would. It's hard for me to believe how much that would play a role in, what's going on. But it's it's a pointed comment. I think I'm struggling more than I thought I would.
And to Jeremy, you get what you pay for. Ross is to blame, but this is still a hot mess of a team. There's some flaws in this team. We all knew there were going to be flaws in this team. We all knew that, Jeremy. But if this team is managed appropriately, they've won 3 out of 4 games. Their talent has put them in position to win 3 out of 4 of these games. You can't sit here and tell me they lost today because the roster's flawed. Look at Cincinnati's roster. It's the worst roster of the league. One of them.
Oh, by far.
Over the course of 162, your roster deficiencies show up, of course. But the Cubs just lost to a team where if the Cubs put out 8 guys, they'd have a better roster than Cincinnati.
Yeah, and I think we've been ones to do this too, where we do the big picture, we draw the circle in the middle of the page. I don't see that today. I'm again seeing some things about Ross, first of all, I don't know what he's making. I don't recall that off the top of my head.
Just make a simple decision.
Why does that matter?
Well, because people are saying that the Cubs went the cheap route with Ross.
But either way, he's making high 6 figures.
Sure. Well, no, he's making
or low 7s.
He's making millions for sure.
I know Cash made like $900K his first year. That's why I said high 6. But
right.
I don't know.
It's a simple Google search here. I mean,
I don't know if
he's making $2.25 million. For
as the manager.
Yeah, for 50, 60 grand.
I don't think I knew that.
What
2.25? That's a going rate, folks. For a baseball manager. Stop with the cheap comments. How is the so you're saying the Cubs are -2 because of Ross this year?
Terry Francona is making $4 million.
Yeah,
he's one of the best in the league.
So Sam, they played 4 games.
Yeah,
you're saying Ross is -2?
Well, he didn't win them the first game. I mean, I think he handled the second game poorly. I wouldn't say that was directly his fault. At some point, Assad's got to make a pitch. And be better, but I definitely would have liked to seen Assad pull. That's harsh. He didn't cost them the second game. Today he was single-handedly the reason they lost the game.
Right.
And look, I saw a couple people on Twitter say to me, "Hey Sam, if you're talking about the manager this much through 4 games, it's probably not a great team." Again, I know it's not a great team.
That's true.
That's what I've stressed all off season. So to be a good team, to get off to a good start, you have to be even more on your toes. You have to be more on your toes. And look at Carson here, Matt. Look at Carson with this fact. Those 3 teams that have great managers are off to stellar beginning.
Yeah, those, especially the first 2 teams, were always cherry-picked with the Cubs. And then there's a team just up the street, 10-2, those 3 franchises combined, playing a great brand of baseball. Meanwhile, the Cubs are 1-3 on the campaign.
Right.
By the way, the sun will rise tomorrow. Just a brief preview here on our way out. Tuesday, Wisniewski against Sessa. Wednesday, Stroman and Green. I put up a poll this morning. If the Cubs return to Wrigley on Friday 3-3, would you define that as a good start to the season?
No.
Over 80% said yes. After this game, please rip up that piece of paper.
Yeah.
Okay? Because this is terrible. I don't care if they come back 3-3 now.
I don't care if Wisniewski throws a perfect game tomorrow.
Well, that would be a good moment.
No, that'd be great for the show, but I'm just saying.
I'm really going to struggle now. Even just basic viewing of these games and what Ross does. Because isn't this the floor of his decision making? Holy smokes!
No, I'll say. Look, I mean, I don't want to talk scheduling, but
Well, no,
Yeah.
we don't because it's a rough schedule coming up.
yeah, it's really rough right now. And
Right.
people out there that sit here and come back and say, "You guys are crazy. It's 4 games in." All right, we'll see
No, and
who's-
I actually haven't seen much of that.
I want to. I close with this question
Please,
to our
please.
to our audience and to you.
Okay.
To our audience and to you. So this is a serious question, and I hate to be this guy.
Okay.
Yes or no? You answer this for me right now. The Chicago Cubs will be over 500 at all the rest of this season. Over.
Oh my.
Remember, last year, 6-4, 10 games in, 6-5, 11 games in, and then they were done. They never saw 500 again.
11 games in.
Yeah, it was 11 games in last year. I thought it'd be at least 50, 60, even 70. You're 1-3. My answer would be yes. I do think they will get back over 500. I know that this team's going to play good baseball at some point. It's just the fact that they just handed this game due to the manager. But just contemplate that, guys. You got 2 more on Wednesday. You face an absolute stud. You got Seattle. You got the Dodgers for 85 games.
Well, my instinct right now would be to say no.
Yeah. How sad is that?
And I'm the one who has the optimism meter in the back of the car. So
got to manage better, David. And more importantly, and this is what's disappointing. I felt like he should have come out and he said, "Hey, that was on me tonight, guys." No,
I don't see evidence of that at all.
No, I think he should have done that. And if he did, because I haven't looked at what he said, if he did, I apologize to him. But everybody, Jed Hoyer, Tom Ricketts, and anybody watching that game knows that was on him.
You've been listening to Locked On Cubs. We're live currently on YouTube, 150 plus with us right now. Thank you so much. If we're in your ears on audio, please stick with us the rest of the week and beyond as we'll be locked in and locked on all things Northsiders. And Cubs continue their series Tuesday and Wednesday with the Reds before an off day, and then returning to Wrigley on Friday with the series with the Texas Rangers. We've talked so much about Ross today. We sprinkled in some potential roster deficiencies, maybe some early moves they should make. And if you're just tuning in, make sure to listen to the full episode if you are with us live. Be sure to subscribe so you know when we're going live. Smash the like button right now on your way out. And if you're listening or re-listening on demand, Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast. And thank you so much for making us your first listen every day. Now make your second listen Locked On Fantasy Baseball. Listen to Matt and Dom as they bring you the best fantasy strategies all season over at Locked On Fantasy Baseball. What an episode that was. He's Sam Olber. I'm Matt Cozy. This